frisch gelandet auf dem Planeten. Herzlich willkommen auf Planet Fair. Bienvenidos al Planeta Justo. Welcome on Planet Fair. I just landed some time ago, and I'm very happy that you're joining me here today. And I'm going to tell you the coordinates where we are standing at right now and a bit about the place. So we are at 29 degrees, 9 minutes, 27.032 seconds north latitude. And we are at 13 degrees, 25 minutes, and 55.726 seconds west longitude. That's here where I stand. I'm standing in the Jameos del Agua, or how you call it, Jameos de la Cazuela. It's a very beautiful place. It's at the foot of a volcano on Lanzarote. And in the site of the pandemic last year, actually the pandemic brought me to this island back home from Berlin, because as some and many of you know, I actually grew up on the Canary Islands. So I'm here at home since beginning of December 2020. Und es ist mir eine große Freude und ein riesiges Vergnügen, Sie und euch alle heute hier dabei zu haben. Our goal has remained the same, fair pay for all people in the world. Das ist immer das gleiche Ziel. Wir wollen faire Bezahlung für alle. And the way is also very, very clear. We just want to close the gender pay gaps. We want to close all pay gaps in every company worldwide. And for me personally, almost any means are fine. Almost. You see, actually, I had planned to be back in Berlin a long time ago and leave the certifying business for others. Many of you out there, and I know there are quite a few hundred or thousands, I have no clue how many are in the end, know that certifying isn't sort of my favorite issue over the past years. But as you know, last year, everything turned out very differently to how it was planned. And so I can welcome you here, standing at the foot of all things at the Volcán de la Corona. And in Germany, we don't talk so much about COVID-19, we talk about the coronavirus. So that's where I'm standing here. And in this direction, it's where the volcano lies. I can see where the lava flew down one day. And in this direction, you can't see it, but I can already see where you're going to be next year, because this is the stage which today, with a big thank, con unas gracias muy amplias a Centros y Turismo de Lanzarote, they stop working, so we are able to use this place. So what happened? I'm going to tell you a bit about why we're here, what have we done, and how did we develop it. So last year in autumn, we finalized the certification that we're going to be talking about. I did that together with my brilliant team at the FPI Fair Pay Innovation Lab. And now I'm really thrilled that we are going to be honoring the first companies today that actually went through the piloting phase. So I will welcome you one by one, and I know that some are already waiting in the waiting room. I can see them over there on the other side. And I will be moving in 3 languages today. So, wie ihr schon gemerkt habt, bewege ich mich hier heute vielsprachig, könnte man sagen, dreisprachig. Aber das ist ja auch ein bisschen dieser Zuhause-Effekt, den ich hier habe. German and English with my guests and with you who are from Iceland, from Germany, from New York, from Sweden, from New Zealand. I know you are in many places at the moment. For some it's quite early, and I also will enter with a little bit of Spanish once in a while for the people that are supporting me here on site and provide you with this live broadcast. Muchísimas gracias a todos los que están aquí detrás del escenario en todas partes haciendo este streaming en vivo de una manera tan maravillosa. Again and again I realize this island is a very, very magical place in very many ways. And many things are possible here. So we got a surprise guest. But surprises sometimes turn out as a double surprise. So it happened that María Dolores Corujo Berriel, la llaman Loli Corujo, que es la presidenta de Lanzarote, she's the president of Lanzarote, wanted to be here with us today, which would have been marvelous because it would have been sort of the one person that could actually be here with me in person. But Madrid called, so she is in Madrid and she couldn't join us. But thanks for making this effort and leaving us with this place. To give you a little background, before I show you the sort of scene of things, just one more time. The Universal Fair Pay Check was born out of a team that worked 3 years. It was born in a moment last year, in the middle of the year, where actually I thought some things might even as well finish. And then suddenly we just moved on and we ended up with analyzing your position, developing your measures, and leading by example. And that's where we stand. And we have the pilot companies that joined us. I never wanted to do that, but I'm really enjoying it because I feel this is the rocket that is actually going to make things move very, very fast. And I'm seeing that in different discussions also that we are having on EU level, on other levels. So what I'm saying is, like, when we entered the rocket last year in October, when we actually launched the check, crew members entered and we started flying, and then we had to make the decision of awarding in a different manner, without the red carpets, but with a bit of wind in the air and an Atlantic breeze, at least for me. So I hope you will feel this one day as well, hopefully next year. So today we are going to set the course to close all gaps in every company worldwide. The course we are taking is 0%. No other coordinates, no matter how you call the gaps. If you call it cleaned up or adjusted or whatever, whichever gap you like, if you take the gender gap, if you take ethnicity gap, the course is 0%. So how does this actually work? We've prepared a little video for you, which we will show in a second, and we're going to show this one in German at this time, and later during the course of our award ceremony today, you will get the English version as well. So, Tony, behind the scenes, please, first video of the FPI.
Noch immer verdienen Menschen überall auf der Welt weniger als andere. Für gleiche und gleichwertige Tätigkeiten, sogar im selben Unternehmen. Ob jemand ein Mann oder eine Frau ist, ob eine Person Kinder hat, welche Herkunft sie hat, an was sie glaubt oder wen sie liebt, all das kann sich auf das Gehalt auswirken. Um Unternehmen bei der Umsetzung von Entgeltgleichheit zu unterstützen, gründete Henrike von Platen 2017 das Fair Pay Innovation Lab. Denn in der Regel wollen Unternehmen alle Beschäftigten fair bezahlen. Mit ihrem Team sowie Expertinnen und Experten aus aller Welt entwickelte die Fair Pay-Expertin den Universal Fair Pay Check. Das Besondere: der dreistufige Zertifizierungsprozess ist in jedem Unternehmen weltweit, unabhängig von der Größe, dem Standort oder der jeweiligen Gesetzgebung, durchführbar. Am Anfang steht immer die Analyse der Entgeltstrukturen. So werden im ersten Schritt unbemerkte Pay Gaps und Maßnahmen aufgezeigt, um die Lohnlücken zu schließen. In der zweiten Phase werden erste Maßnahmen umgesetzt, um den unerklärbaren Rest des Gender Pay Gaps zu schließen. In der dritten Phase werden der reale Gender Pay Gap und andere Pay Gaps weiter verkleinert und die Zahlen veröffentlicht. Das Ergebnis? Klischeefreie, neutrale und objektive Entgeltstrukturen, die keinen Raum für Diskriminierung lassen. Wer dafür sorgt, dass Männer und Frauen gleich bezahlt werden, schließt alle anderen Pay Gaps gleich mit. Geld ist der Schlüssel zur Chancengleichheit für alle Beschäftigten, so Henrike von Platen. Nichts tun, kommt die Unternehmen sehr viel teurer zu stehen. Denn faire Bezahlung sorgt für mehr Diversität und Inklusion, mehr Frauen in Führung, größere Motivation und Zufriedenheit, weniger Fluktuation, größere Attraktivität für Fach- und Nachwuchskräfte, bessere Reputation und Investor Relations. Der Universal Fair Pay Check ist Kompass und Aushängeschild für alle Unternehmen, die ihre Beschäftigten fair bezahlen. Unabhängig davon, wie alt diese sind oder ob sie Kinder haben, woher sie kommen, wen sie lieben oder woran sie glauben. Das Ziel: faire Bezahlung für alle Menschen auf der Welt.
Ich hoffe, das ist klar und eindeutig gewesen. As I told you, you will get it in English later as well, just to make sure you know exactly what's happening here. And everything, like I said before, is about analyzing your position to become a fair pay analyst, about developing your measures to become a fair pay developer, and about leading by example to become a universal fair pay leader. I want to give you one more glimpse on the FPI, because this is a very important part to me. For me, the FPI also means family and, of course, fair pay. So we do have our own values and our own system as well. We do have transparently our wages on our website, pieces like this, because we want to show what works. And I've always said, since I founded the FBI, that this is not honorary work, this is paid labor, and it has to be paid fairly. Now I had to jump over my little shadow for a bit, because today is a special moment in the way that we are actually relying on many, many people who made this event possible on an honorary basis. And that's not what I would actually like doing, but I want to make sure that you know about this, because the FBI as a not-for-profit organization actually depends on your donations and on your will to keep us running and to pay the staff and also the honorary teams. So feel free to donate. Donations that come in today onto our account will be spread evenly across all those people who are working on an honorary basis today. And you will see them in the end of the film as well, with a little video that we made especially for these people in Spain, in Hamburg, in England, and in Berlin. So they are all over the place. Now I want to start with the awarding. The companies that were the very first that agreed to join us on the road and actually entered by their free will, without nobody pushing them, this fair pay rocket. You need to be brave to do that, and you need to just sort of want to do it and do that step. You do first things every day. I do this today for the first time. There will be a last time one day, but not yet. So everybody can do it and join us. And our first crew member, who I already see, but you don't see him yet, is waiting behind the scenes about 3,097 kilometers from here, from the Janeos del Agua in Germany. And well, that's where we're going to travel for the first award. So, Tony, el video, por favor.
Ettlingen, near Karlsruhe in Baden-Württemberg. This is where esentri AG was founded in 2009. The name means easy entry and is the company's axiom. The IT consultancy facilitates access to technologies, digitalization and social networks for other companies. Today, nearly 100 employees work at 5 locations in Germany, Liechtenstein and Switzerland. Innovation made in Ettlingen also includes fairness and transparency within the company. The New Year's resolution for 2021, made in the middle of the pandemic, fair pay. Digitalization and innovation have always been part of our DNA, explains esentri CEO Szilinski. But being one step ahead doesn't stop at technology. It also means that at esentri, all employees are paid fairly and all have the same opportunities, without exception. The innovation expert wants to ensure this using the Universal Fair Pay Check and had the company certified by the Fair Pay Innovation Lab. In 2021, esentri AG will be recognized as a fair pay analyst.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Congratulations, Robert. I'm so proud of having you here on this stage today. Please, how do you feel? What can you tell us? What does it mean to you to be awarded the Universal Fair Pay Analyst for the first time ever?
Ja, lieben Dank, Henrike. Ich bin selbst platt und völlig überrascht, auch den ersten Award überhaupt zu kriegen. Und ich wechsle auch gleich ins Englische, damit alle wieder mithören können. Oder ich versuche es auch für mich das erste Mal wieder seit langem. Yeah, I'm really impressed, and it's a great honor for us to get this first award today. It's a great recognition of our mindset when it comes to salary and fairness, and I'm really happy right now to be part of this movement that you've created. Yeah, it's really an honor.
Robert, I will get you into the English groove a little bit.
Yeah.
You are an entrepreneur with passion for change. As an agile thought leader, you burn for innovations in companies and are mainly concerned with the digitalization of business models and new working environments. So what do your employees say about the commitment for fair pay? And just in a bracket for everybody listening, we know that we have about half of the people attending that are German speaking, half of the people attending that are English speaking. There are over 300 registrations and so many on YouTube which we don't know about. And that's the reason why we keep switching languages a bit. And we hope you will be doing fine with that. So, Robert, your floor, deine Bühne.
Well, Henrike, let me first point out that our history with transparency and fairness started long ago before we get in touch with your FBI lab. At esentri, we drive the digital future of our clients, as you said, and these are mostly hidden champion companies. And we call ourselves digital pioneers, but in reality, the successful digital transformation that you mentioned does not rely on does not only rely on excellence in technology, but on mindset and culture. And we love the idea of a warm digitalization where technology serves sustainability and human needs. And it was no question for our employees to start this initiative. We are working as a self-organized company where a lot of decisions and initiatives are driven by our employees. And one of these initiatives was to develop a concept for fair pay and a transparent salary concept a few years ago. As we've learned, it was not easy to bring the different views of fair salary together in a esentri salary formula. And we tried it multiple times with different approaches. But now in collaboration with the FBI lab, we have the opportunity to discuss our ideas and our values for fair pay with the best experts on the market in order to find a really good concept that mirrors our cultural values and our understanding of fairness. Let me point out another reason why we have so much passion for this topic. We see diversity as a major success factor. And we like to encourage women in IT. We believe that mixed teams and female qualities are a game changer, and fair pay is an asset for us as we like to attract the best talents for our planned strategic growth. Finally, let me conclude that fairness, transparency, and trust are, in my opinion, the new currencies of our time. Look, I have two small children at home, a boy and a girl. I like to make sure that both of them have equal possibilities in the future and that we all together set the new social standards as founders and entrepreneurs. I like to lead by example, and my personal wish is that esentri animates other SMB companies, also small companies, to follow this path towards a more sustainable future. Let me thank you deeply from my heart to you, Henrike, and your team for your support and your passion to become an even better employer with this Fair Pay Award. And I promise, and I really give my very best to be next year here again, maybe at Lanzarote, and to get the next level award for our achievements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Robert. That sounds perfect to me. And I'm sure you will do the next steps. And I'm so happy that we can be talking to others in a while as well about what they've done so that we can sort of take the level of best practice exchange that we do often behind the scenes and in closed circles very openly today to hopefully bring lots of other companies to this first step, which sounded quite easy for you. You just decided to do it and you've done it. Now maybe the marathon starts. How do you feel about, you said like next year, the next step? How do you think, how much work do you think it will be, or will it be more fun than work?
I think overall it's fun, but I'm also modest and humble because I know it's a fundamental decision for esentri that fits very well to our culture, to our company culture, but there's still a way to go for us. And the first analytics showed that. Even for us, it was sometimes surprising where we might have gaps. It's not completely finalized at the moment, but we got the first feelings and guts. And yeah, I'm still, somehow excited where this way will lead us.
Yeah. I like to say to the others as well out there that, as you see now, esentri is not showing figures on the pay gap data, which is not important at this moment. I stand really for full transparency, as you all know, but at this moment in time, you are standing at a point where you are actually still seeing figures where you're looking for explanations yourself, and after that, you go transparent with something that you actually know what happened. So I really like this move. And you said something about the SMEs as well. And I was looking at it, like in the Germans when they say IT in the Ländle. So what does it feel like to be such an innovative company at these different places, and then even, just pulling others along, like you said? Do you already see some of them, or do you think this is going to happen? Or can you sort of show that others are already taking some different steps? Doesn't have to be for fair pay. That might be the next one then.
Yeah, overall, I can see that sustainability, diversity are major game changers. And this is where we go as esentri as well. So our strategic path will definitely lead there. And I see a lot of other companies, especially in my network, that have similar ideas or similar concepts in place or thinking about it. So somehow it makes me proud that esentri is one of the really pioneers. I mean, we're used to be pioneers in the digitalization area. And we also have a self-organized AG in Germany, which is not typical, right?
That's true.
Even for a German Mittelstand. And so it somehow makes me proud to be one of the first companies really that doesn't only talk about it, but really starts initiatives. And together with you, I'm sure we will make great results, and we'll definitely lead the path to the future.
Wonderful, you will. And I'm sure we will see you again on the developer and leader stage. I'm going to move on a bit, but you are staying behind the scenes because we're coming back to the discussion. So I will take you back into the discussion after the next 2 rounds of awards. See you in some minutes, Robert. For all others out there, I want to move on one step further, and it's the next company that we're going to be seeing now. It's our second station, and it's going to be a bit more to the north even. Looking at it from here, so it's about, what did it say? It's like from esentri, it's another 350 kilometers. So it's in Bielefeld in Nordrhein-Westfalen. Y Tony, por favor, dale a marcha al video.
Rheingans ist Zukunft, lautet der Claim der Agentur Rheingans aus Bielefeld. Landesweit bekannt wurde das Beratungsunternehmen vor allem durch den Entschluss, Arbeit radikal neu zu denken und das Konzept Vollzeit zu revolutionieren. Seit 2017 gibt es bei Rheingans keine 40-Stunden-Woche mehr, sondern 5-Stunden-Tage. Wohlgemerkt bei gleichem Lohn. Das Experiment hat bis heute Erfolg. In 5 statt 8 Stunden am Tag arbeiten die 14 Beschäftigten genauso produktiv wie früher. So ist größere Vereinbarkeit und Karriere auch in Teilzeit möglich. Nun lässt sich das Unternehmen im Rahmen des Universal Fair Paycheck zertifizieren. Denn faire Bezahlung ist für Gründer und Agenturchef Lasse Rheingans Ehrensache. Es ist mir unbegreiflich, auf welcher Grundlage Organisationen im Jahre 2020 überhaupt noch einen Gender Pay Gap dulden. Um den längst überfälligen Wandel herbeizuführen, gilt es, den Missstand nicht länger zu ignorieren, sondern klar zu benennen. Für mich ist es selbstverständlich, mich für Transparenz und für das Schließen sämtlicher Lohnlücken einzusetzen. 2021 wird Rheingans als Fair Pay Analyst ausgezeichnet.
All others out there, all videos from all companies after the show will be online in all languages. So, lieber Lasse, du hast die Wahl, die Qual. Such dir aus, wie du reden möchtest. Ich freue mich unheimlich, dich zu sehen und an Bord zu haben. Und ja, wie geht's dir? Schieß los. The floor is yours.
Hi, Henrike. Thank you very much. I could continue in English. That's fine for me and for the audience as well, I guess. So thanks a lot for having us. Thanks a lot for this initiative, and thanks a lot for this great video. I'm flattered. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're so flattered that I have to tell Tony that he has to put your certificate on the screen. Tony, cámbiale al Rheingans el certificado para que se vea su propio certificado, por favor. This is the one from before. We didn't have that for Robert, but that doesn't matter.
Here we go.
That's the right one. That looks beautiful. So, Rheingans, go. How do you feel? What made you come here?
I feel it's great. It's great to be part of the rocket. It's great to thrive change forward in the society. And I think it's great to actually make the gender pay gap or any pay gap visible more. So I'm very grateful that we are on board, that you asked me to be on board, and you actually started the initiative. So it's a good move, it's a good first step, and I'm looking forward to seeing other companies join as well and make this rocket even bigger.
We have lots of seats here, no trouble. Lots and lots of seats. So I want to give the people outside a little view on you. You combine digitalization with culture issues. And for you, the right way to successfully meet challenges of the current working world. And you have introduced the 5-hour day for employees. In Germany, this is quite well known, but maybe not yet in the rest of the world. How do you think, or what do you think has this 5-hour day to do with fair pay, and what is it about?
I think many people. Okay, let me start like this. Like 4 years ago, we started the 5-hour workday and didn't change pay or the vacancies of our employees, and it was a big buzz in the press world in Germany, but also in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Fox News, and everywhere around the world. And that made me think, because I realized that many people didn't actually see all the changes that have taken that exist in the working world. You know, because of over the last 30 years, the cost of living has doubled, but the pay is still probably the same or almost the same than before. So I started the 5-hour workday to make our employees, or put our employees in the position to be able to cope with all these changes and to cope with the complexity and the speed of the society and the work without putting them in the position of less money. And we found out that this is a big thing for their mental health, for their family issues, and it doesn't affect work productivity in a negative manner. And I think that helps families and employees, being like male, female employees, to have better balance in their lives. And I think that was the first step towards like making what is this in English? Not stopping anyone with kids making a proper career, you know. Putting that aspect into possible range. My English lacks a bit, I'm sorry.
That's okay, don't worry about that. We have German speakers will be happy if you flechtest da rein ein paar deutsche Sätze. Da freuen sich andere, also sei ganz entspannt.
Okay.
No trouble.
Yes, so that's what we do with the 5-hour workday. And I think the Fair Pay initiative and being part of this initiative is just the next step to, first we talked about hours, then we talked about office during Corona and COVID pandemic. We actually set all our employees free. They can work whenever, wherever they want. And now I think we have to tackle the next aspect of pay transparency and closing any gap there might be. And I hope that we don't have too many gaps, but we will see during this analysis. But if there are, it's good that we now see them and we can fix it, because I think many companies, they don't do it as a bad, they want to do it, but they do it because they don't know any better. And I think it's great to have tools at hand that can show that there are possible pay gaps and how to close them or them.
Yep. I like that. A little secret, Lasse was very, very late. He just made it to become an analyst very fast, and we pushed him a bit in time, and it said, come on, you can do the analysis before the awards round, you can do it, and he did. So we don't know exactly what came out of it. I don't at the moment. I just didn't have the time even to look. The other team did that. So we are sure you did the right thing. But there was something that was there something that stopped you from not wanting or being a little, oh God, what's this going to happen? Or was it just because so many things are happening at the moment? That would be one question. And the second little question, what did this moment of actually seeing whatever you saw, because now the work sort of starts, what did this do with you? Do you want to share that?
Nothing really stopped me but putting all the information from all the employees together. There was just a little thing that I had to, a little obstacle that I had to jump over. And after doing it, it was very easy. It was easy. I just needed to gather all the information. So it wasn't nothing, there was no deeper meaning behind it. It's just time issues. Okay, and now I think the feeling was, I remember doing the first tax report for the tax government thing, and after that I realized, oh, this is all the information they want, and now I realize what it's all about. So it was very a little of, wow, now I get the thing that Henrike is talking all the time. Cool. It was very good. It was very relief, in some sort. So it was good, and now I think whenever there are discussions about like pay gaps or just payment, I look at them differently, because I've done all the certification process and there were questions, and I think that is great.
Thank you very much. I hope this gives a little blast to others out there that are in this moment often stuck saying, God, this is going to be hard, or I'm not sure what it's about. And it can be so good, like you just said it. Once you've done it, you find out, well, it's like the tax, you just do it. And once you've done it, it's easy, so you can do it every year and you know where you stand and change. So I really look forward to the next steps, developing measures and really seeing where you stand. Is there anything that you want to is there anything else you want to share before we sort of take the rocket to the next country in this case, actually?
No, let's push forward. That's the last thing.
Okay, I like that.
Put pressure on it.
Yeah, we are. We will be flying very fast. All of you with us. So, okay, then we will move you, and you will be back later together with Robert, and we will discuss a little bit in the round with the three of you. Our next stop will be Reykjavík. That's a linear distance from here, once north across the Atlantic, around 4,000 kilometers. By land, it would be just under 7,000 kilometers. And, well, let's go there. Tony, Reykjavík Energy, porfa.
Reykjavík Energy, Iceland's second largest energy company, is largely owned by the city of Reykjavík, to which it supplies electricity and water. The company is in many ways a role model. Even German Chancellor Angela Merkel once visited one of the geothermal power plants in Hellisheiði. One of the reasons why Orkuveita Reykjavíkur, as the company is named in Icelandic, is a front-runner when it comes to fair pay, is that no other country in the world has such ambitious equal pay laws as Iceland. At Reykjavík Energy, the gender pay gap was closed in 2017 and has been kept closed ever since. In 2018, the company received Icelandic Equal Pay Certification for its remuneration strategy and the non-discriminatory pay structures. Participating in the Universal Fair Pay Check is an opportunity to measure ourselves in new ways, says Víðir Ragnarsson, Head of Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives. It focuses not only on the adjusted gender pay gap, but also on the unadjusted pay gap and other pay gaps stemming from different backgrounds. These are measures that address the fundamental causes of inequalities. In 2021, Reykjavík Energy will be recognized as a fair pay leader.
Víðir, congratulations. I'm so happy to see you. And well, this was for you a surprise. You haven't seen this film before. What does it feel like after being so well recognized already all in Iceland, now standing here for the first time ever awarded as a universal fair pay leader from us? The floor is yours, Víðir. Is it possible that Víðir isn't hearing me?
Yeah, good morning.
There you are, wonderful. I see you are still just under the shock from the moment. So take your time. How do you feel? What is it like to get this award? And how did you get there? What have you done over the past years to actually reach this stage? What can others learn from you?
Thank you, Henrike. Thank you. It's a great honor, and I'm very happy to. Excuse me.
We can hear and see you fine. Don't worry.
Yes, thank you again, Henrike. Well, it's a very good. It's a great honor to be standing these steps today, and also having this universal fair pay check, which we can measure us against others, but also working to others towards this greater goal. What we have been doing is, we have been very much focusing on closing the adjusted gender pay gap. In the last 10 years, we reached that in 2017 and have been using measures and data and analysis to keep it closed. But then further, you see some other gaps. You see some gaps, the real gap between the wages of women and men. And now we are very determined to close that also. But that brings the project to a totally different level.
Is it a lot of a difference for you, as you just said that, with the next level, or do you feel it's sort of the same process repeating, or do you see differences depending on the gaps that you tackle? I think we have a time lapse between Lanzarote and Iceland. I can hear you, but I think you hear me with a time lapse, with a delay, which is okay as long as you hear me completely, and then you can talk. It's probably the distance from Lanzarote to. We should have taken the lava stream directly. The fast tunnel.
It is totally different because. Instead of trying to figure out the pay structure within the company and
okay, so one question for you. I want to introduce you as well, which I wanted to keep a bit later. So just for everybody out there to know who Víðir actually is. He is the head of diversity and inclusion initiatives at Reykjavík Energy. So you see already the inclusion part with the different.
Yeah, but instead of explaining the difference when you take into account your and
To all out there, I have no clue, but it must be it must be somehow the volcanic stream between us here and Víðir in Reykjavík. But I hope we will just sort that out behind the scenes while.
Okay, there are some delays I hear.
Yes, you have a delay somehow.
If I keep talking about this, instead of explaining the pay structure and what contributes to closing the adjusted gender pay gap, now we are more focusing on our job roles, how gender divided jobs are, and and also bringing more women into power in all positions in the company, not just the top management, but all through the responsibility chain in the company and companies.
As I know you have the delay, just a short question and then give us a big answer if you
So
like.
Are you getting this?
Yes, we are getting this with the delay, but it's coming. So when you hear me now, please take a little time and tell us what does it mean that your company is so equality driven? How do you define that? And what do you want to give other companies on the way? What can other companies learn from Reykjavík Energy?
Yeah, well, the meaning for us is tremendous. We believe, and there are some pointers that gives us some idea that is reality, that better decision making is happening in the company. We are getting better results, both in decision making, in financial measures, and in workplace measures. We are high above the market benchmark in terms of how happy our employees are. And all this has to do with how we focus on equality and creating workplaces that make sure that everyone is welcome. And that is a very big part of the picture. So keeping the workplaces away from a culture that is hindering to some groups, that's not acceptable to us. So in that way, we are creating workplaces which we address equality in decision making in every respect. I would encourage other companies to start. That is the main part. Start measuring. Start bringing in some thought about this. Of course, we are very lucky with our management team, and our CEO is very devoted to equality. So we are kind of his followers in this respect. So having the management buy-in is of utter importance, and giving some resources to this. And this is something that is not a cost to companies. This is something that brings real value to companies.
Thank you very much, Víðir. Knowing that you have this little delay, I won't ask another question. I will go with you into the discussion, and I will make sure that we make some questions for you, that when you get them at the end, you can just jump in when you've heard them and give us the answers. And it sounds like you are hearing me at the moment now, no time delay. Not perfect. Then that's good for the discussion. Wonderful. Now, please, Tony, mándanos otra vez a Robert y a Lasse también a la discusión. Y así está. Here you are all. Great to see you. Magic. So, we have Ettlingen, Bielefeld, Reykjavík und Rameos del Agua, alle zusammen in der Runde. I will start off with Robert being the first who got the award. Now, Robert, you saw Lasse being very different in his approaches, and you've heard a bit from Víðir. What do you feel like? What would you like to sort of know from a person like Víðir or a company like Reykjavík Energy to exchange? What would be your burning question so that we see what answer you get?
I indeed have a burning question, and it's a question I listened very carefully. It's a question about the job roles. I think it's not that difficult maybe to compare men and women in the same job role. But we also have, since we have a holistic approach for digitalization, we also have many job roles in our company. And I think that's very challenging for us. How can you compare different job roles with different background, knowledge, experience? How can you compare that? That seems to me a big challenge for our company and probably for all companies.
Yeah, so well, it is a challenge for us also, because well, jobs are very well historically very gender based, and we have this well social idea of women and men bringing different value. I would start with, well, changing and looking at what different jobs roles bring to the company. What and why do we value differently if it is a job performed by men and women? And of course, it is a cost in the start, and of course it is a societal project to value in a new way the jobs typically done by women and men, and to make that equal. But yeah, start with looking at the value each job brings to the company, and if it is the similar value, and if you are paying it differently just based on some old ideas, you should rethink that. That would be my advice.
I remember when I met Víðir in Reykjavík some time ago. That was a good one. And I remember he also said something about, I gave him a question. I actually asked him, I said, when we have companies in Germany, and I talk to some, especially the men in those companies, they often just have no clue. And I asked him, how do I convince them? What's sort of the secret to convince them? And Víðir just said, how can you not be convinced? And I see you are convinced, so this is good now. So you see, Víðir, it works. It's not, they're not all like I thought when we met. And yeah, and that's good. That's very good. And I remember another thing that you said when you showed us everything, which goes a bit in the direction also of what Robert was asking. You take out the complexity of the system, and that's something I see very often. And maybe you want to just elaborate a little on what do you mean by taking out complexity of the system, because I think it fits well with the job roles question as well. Víðir has again a little delay, I think. This volcanic stream between the islands.
Well. The more complex system you have, there is a possibility that the old values of job roles are too stuck into that. So we have around 5 job categories, and we are a company of 500 plus employees in 3 different industries, if we could say as that. So when we kept that simple and we just looked at in a really gender-based sector as when we had once the complex system, or we had maybe 30 job categories, and in that way we were hiding in fact some of the gender-based difference in pay, because the groups were not that gender divided. So we were just comparing groups only with men to groups only with women. And in fact, when you take a broader stance and take the complexity out of the system, as I have said, you are forced to compare much more people against each other.
Thank you. Lasse, what's burning in your mind? You look like you have a burning question maybe too. So what do you want to know?
I was thinking about the taking or looking at the value that people bring to the company, which is very difficult, because I think, what is value? What is productivity? I heard many people ask us about the 5-hour day. And my answer is, what is work and what is productivity? It can't be measured in hours. So how do you measure the value that people bring? Because many people bring happiness to other colleagues and then improve their productivity by that, but you can't see it in turnover. So I guess we need new KPIs for economy. We need different measurements. We're not there yet, but we have to get there to really see value that people bring. He's bringing value, and it can't sometimes be measured in turnover or EBIT or whatever. So that's difficulty I have. So and what Robert said is, the roles in we are just 15 people. It's very difficult to compare payment and wages in our company, because even if you have 2 project managers, their job is different. You can't easily compare them. That's something we have to tackle, and something we have to, we need to start the debate about it, which you did, Henrike, to find ways to cope with it and to deal with this. That's what I think about.
Great. It fits so nicely with my saying, or our claim of analyzing your position first. Like saying, look where you are, check it out, and then start sort of changing and developing your measures personalized in a way to your company that fits you. Because you can learn so much from each other on the one hand, but on the other hand, each company needs their own measures. There isn't like one size fits all solution for fair pay, apart from, of course, our final goal, that is the course that we have 0%. So that one is easy, but the way to get there is a little marathon that we are doing together. So at this point in time, with a little look on my little clock by my side, I want to really give you the chance to bring out like some last idea, some last thought for all the others. And I just can't stop myself to congratulate you again, because Robert being a universal fair pay analyst, Lasse being a universal fair pay analyst, and Víðir being with us here for Reykjavík Energy as the universal fair pay leader makes me standing here feel absolutely, it's rocket. It's not rocket science, but it feels like flying a rocket. So please, you go. I have Robert, then Víðir, then Lasse. What do you give the people out there on an idea or whatever? Go for it. I can't hear Robert.
My fault. Okay, I start again. Sorry for
Yes,
that.
please.
Yeah. No, I'd like to make it very short because my biggest point is that it's not only fun, but it feels really good to start an initiative and to start a way to more fairness and to more transparency. It's also challenging, yes, but it's just feels good, and I really like to encourage everyone listening to do the same and to do the same with you. I enjoy the work very much with your team, and yeah, this is what I like to say and to give the audience as a last feedback.
Thank you, Robert. Víðir, go ahead. The delay, yeah, is it? Víðir, it's your. He knows.
Yeah, well, my thoughts is well, very much gratitude. I would well say also congratulate you and your team, Henrike. Do you hear me?
Yes.
And last thoughts is basically, well, it is a wise thing to do. It is the right thing to do, and it is a process that brings value to companies and to society on so many levels. So go ahead.
Thank you very much. We keep flying on track to Planet Fair. Lasse, your floor.
Yeah, I think it's on the one hand side you have an emotional aspect and you have a rational aspect, and even if you just feel if it's right to pay people the same, yeah, it's right. That's the emotional part. But then on the rational side, you have so many studies showing that diversity is key to innovation and to good teams, and gender or other pay gaps, they put you away from diverse teams. It doesn't make sense. So it's on the two sides, like the emotional and rational side, it's just the right thing to do. So please join us in our rocket and be part of this ride.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. And we have so many empty seats, we can just fill them in. It's because, you know, it's like a magic rocket, you see. And the magic about the rocket is that you can just enter, and there will always be a new seat for the person coming. It's like a no limit rocket concerning the seats. So thank you for picking this up, Lasse. I wish you all now a great show with us on the other side. Sort of, I see you moving for me again into the other room, and I look forward to meeting you later on another stage. And I want to move forward now to another little discussion that we are having, because there's something on this rocket that we cannot miss. It's not only about crew members. We also need, on board of such a rocket, good technicians, engineers who actually regularly maintain the instruments and actually know their way around with the numbers. So this is sort of the part of analyzing phase in a way, and the whole process of the Universal Fair Pay check is designed to be extremely cooperative. That's sort of the idea that I have behind it, which means FPI and our FPI agents, we cannot do everything, and we don't want to do everything. We want to make sure that all over the world, meaning all companies worldwide, get certified or at least pay fairly. They can just pay fairly without certification. It's fine as well, as long as they do it. But we can help them, and for that we need cooperations with those companies out there that are actually able to do the analysis phase, and later in the second stage, in some months, you will have follow-ups on this. We will see also lots of cooperations coming up for the developing phase concerning all the different measures that you have to actually take when you want to pay fairly and sort of, develop the measures that you need depending on your analysis. So for the cooperation, we will stay now a bit in Germany with one leg, and we will have another leg in Reykjavík with another great person. So we are flying with our little crow against north across the Atlantic, stop one leg 4,000 kilometers and the other one a little further. And joining us on screen will be Margaret and Florian. And I just want to give you an idea of who these great people are, and I can already see you. So Dr. Margaret Vilborg Bjarnadottir, I need to really, I'm coming to Iceland to learn that well, sometime next, I don't know when. She's Professor of Management Science and Statistics at the Robert H. Smith School of Business and co-founder of Pay Analytics, my personal absolute favorite concerning analysis. For her innovative approach, she was awarded the Gwyn Platinum Award for Women Investors and named University Women of the Year last year in 2020. Margaret and I have met quite a few times, and that was also in Iceland on the other volcano, so to say. I really love these two islands. And we decided very fast, relatively quick, that we have to team up. And since then, we are, I would say, partners in crime for fair pay. And on the other side, we have Florian Frank from Willis Towers Watson, and he joined WTW in 2013 as Senior Director and Head of Talent and Rewards for Germany and Austria, and was previously the Economist and Senior Manager at Oliver Wyman. We have actually met for the first time during one of our fair pay management circles and decided we should also team up. And since then, we actually conducted 3 studies on fair pay. One is just being finished, and the latest insights will be out soon, or maybe we even get some in the discussion now. So we give ourselves some time now to discuss why companies should analyze and how. And I want to start with you, Margaret, to really tell us, well, just tell us your story. What should I ask? Tell us what's it all about. Go.
Go, okay. First of all, congratulations with this wonderful event and the awards. So tell me your story. Maybe what you're thinking about is, how did I get into this business of providing pay equity analysis? So it all started actually over 5 years ago now, when I was approached by a COO that was responsible for the HR functionality within his organization. And what had happened is that they had measured at 8% equal pay gap. And the whole management agreed that, that's unacceptable. So everybody was going to be super mindful about it in all of their decision making. But when they measured everything again, 12 months later, it was still 8%. So it became to them that as much as we want to fight and close equal pay gaps with good intentions alone. So back to your point, we really need some kind of quantitative tools to actually support us. So we need to measure the problem in order to be able to address the problem. So that's how my adventure got started. So the COO was complaining, and to me, with a background in kind of mathematical modeling, it sounded fascinating to understand, okay, if we have a legacy problem, I call equal pay gaps really just legacy problems, because as we know, we're all well-intentioned. We all want to do well. Nobody intends to have a gap, but we have been making decisions over years and maybe decades that might have been biased in one way or another, fixing that percent pay gap. So then I developed approaches to determine, okay, if we are facing these legacy problems, how do we fix them? Who should get a raise and how large should those raises be? And then going forward, how do we support organizations making good salary decisions so that these pay gaps don't come crawling back? So that's what I've been up to for the past 5 years.
So good, Margaret, I like it. And I like it the way that one thing I like every time that we talk, and also with Sigurjon of Pay Analytics, every time we talk, it's so much focused on the issue of closing the gaps. It's always directed to that and giving sort of advice on how to close that. And I would like to get Florian into the discussion and tell us, maybe you can give us a little insight on the studies if you want to. I'm not sure. This is a spontaneous question. I'm not sure if there is actually something already. It would be sort of first hand. And on the other side also, what do you think about the analysis system? What have you seen being at WTW and knowing a lot about doing this and the concerns or issues that companies have? The floor is yours.
Yeah, happy to give some first insights actually into the study, to be honest. We closed the study last Friday, so I just had a first look at the raw data actually yesterday, so it's just really a glimpse into it. But let me first take perhaps a step back. I think what we see in case where we compare companies across Europe is that we really see some advanced countries, some countries which are more lacking. I think we had Iceland as a good example, also the other Scandinavian countries, good examples who have a very, very long tradition actually in a leading role because they've adapted transparency and other legislations already years back. Also, if I look at the UK, for example, where they have a very strict reporting on fair pay gaps, right? So there I see many companies really deeply looking into the fair pay issues and working around it. If I now look back at Germany, where I mostly work, I would still say that we are lagging to some extent. But my observation really is that this is now really changing very rapidly. We have seen a lot of change regarding companies during the last years, also regarding fair pay projects, audits they're doing, and really changes they're introducing. And as you just said, we are running this yearly survey together, and well, we hope to publish it in a few weeks' time. But what we really still see in our results, and it was a survey conducted in Germany, that still 70% of the leadership roles are really still male, right? Whereas the split of the overall population is around 50-50. We see 35% of the female employees are working part-time. On the male side, it's just the 8%. But the encouraging thing is that 40% are already doing fair pay audits, right? And I think that's really the basis to start to change something. Whereas mostly it's still focused on the more easy quantitative analysis, like equal pay for the same job, entry salaries, maybe promotions. But only a minority is really analyzing performance management processes, high potential pools, etc. But I think it's really the start, right? To start with the, as we also do here, and which is also entrenched in your certification, that you start with the analysis, then you move there to close the easy part, which is the adjusted pay gap, and then really moving to the real problem with the unadjusted pay gap and tackling that. What we also see is that already 50% of the companies are starting to communicate actively regarding fair pay, and I think that's a very encouraging signal, because in the end, only if we really communicate and have transparency, we can change things, and you only then have kind of a case of urgency that you have to change something and really gets into the mind of the people. So I'm coming to the conclusion, I think a way to go, but I see good signs and encouraging signs that a lot of this is changing. I think probably also your initiative, Henrike, regarding the certification is probably also a good push into the right direction.
Thank you, Florian. Yeah, I was like thinking about so many things are happening in the world in different stages, and we see the different laws. What do you think about actually the issue of countries making different laws? Are they coming up with different wishes for analysis? As you already mentioned, the UK, but you have other countries there as well. Do you see, maybe Margaret first, a movement that gives us a push? Because of course, for the universal fair pay check, we don't need the legislation, but we see that companies are willing to do this. But still, when you have legislation, sometimes some people move faster. So do you have any insights into different countries for us?
Yeah, sure. So, sitting here in Iceland, I mean, we got a leap start. So we got our legislation probably 4 years ago by now. And I would say, so to give the audience a little bit of background. So in Iceland, we require every single organization to get equal pay certification. So, and, sitting here, I'm seeing the progress in Iceland. I've seen huge changes. So just as was mentioned earlier, we are seeing the adjusted pay gap, as I call the equal pay gap, closing up very soon. So legislation helps. And interestingly, every country is going in their own direction. I give you examples to highlight what is happening, but at the end of the day, all of them are trying to achieve equal pay, but at very different, with different approaches, I would say. So in the UK, as was mentioned, they have to report. So we call it the kind of measure and publicize approach. And there hasn't been an academic study on the UK, but interestingly, Denmark has had similar law on their books for more than a decade. And a year ago or so, a study came out and showed that just within a year of that legislation, it reduced the adjusted pay gap by 18%. So huge direct impact. So we know, two very different legislations, but getting at the same problem and delivering results. So then another very interesting kind of observation is that traditionally, all the legislation has focused on equal pay for equal work, as has been discussed so many times today. Interestingly, Sweden and now Canada at the federal level are actually taking a little bit of different approach. So they are trying to start to address the unadjusted pay gap. So they are not directly tackling equal pay for equal work, but equal pay for work of equal value. So kind of linking back to what Víðir was saying earlier, that if we have two very different job roles, but they're of equal value, then, shouldn't those be compensated equally? So in Canada and in Sweden, that's what they are focusing on. So trying to drive change through enforcing equal pay for work of equal value. I haven't seen any studies on the results in Sweden. I hear kind of from conversation that the results are mixed, and it will be very interesting to follow the developments in Canada.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think this will be very interesting too, because we see the movement, and now with the EU directive, especially also in Europe, but still also in the rest of the world with so many things happening. And I think what would be interesting to hear from you, Florian, as well, maybe is a glimpse on the insights when you do analysis with all kinds of different companies. What kind of insights do you find? Where are sort of the main steps? What are the main issues that you see where you could give the people that are listening a little hint to show them what could be their next steps in this process once they've done an analysis? And yes, I want to make sure for everybody to know these are our two partners at the moment, but of course you don't have to go to Willis Towers Watson or have to use pay analytics to do an analysis. These are my personal favorites at the moment, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones. So just make sure you do it. But if you do the analysis, Florian, what insights can you give out?
Yes, perhaps small step back, because I think the intention, no one really has the intention. If you talk with companies, no one has the intention to discriminate. And I think before they start with it, everyone has the feeling that they don't have a problem, right? And therefore, I think it's also the legislation is very welcome to give kind of the first push that people really start thinking a little bit more and looking into it, because what we see with many companies when they start, they say, well, actually, no, we have fair policies. We don't have any issues, right? But then when you start digging in, then and with the help of a pay analytics software, etc., you really encounter the gaps. And I think in the end, the pay gap is not the reason, right? I mean, the reason is always kind of the same opportunities, fair chances in the job, and the problems for the fair pay gaps usually lie somewhere else. It's not that. Yes, of course, you also see that you have different pay levels for the same job, for the equal jobs, but in the end, you need to look a little bit more at the overall life cycle. So we're often looking at promotion levels, right? We're looking at promotion salary increases. It's more really across the entire employee life cycle. Also, if you have the starting salaries, which are different. We often discover that female employees who went to maternity leave in Germany, if they enter it, they might not get a salary increase as others did. When they return, they are not getting it. So they're lacking 2 rounds of salary increases. I think you can discover a lot of issues within the overall HR processes, which you have to tackle in the end to have a consistent and a long-lasting elimination of the fair pay gap. Because I mean, on the adjusted fair pay gap, it's easy to fix that, right? It takes you a year or 2 years to adjust the salary, but you also need to maintain it. And then it's really about all your other HR processes, right? From starting at the beginning, from the hiring, that you're looking, how do you actually formulate the job description and this job entry in Stepstone, for example? Does it attract on the same side females and male employees? You need to look at the recruiting process, right? That you have the same starting salary. So also the initiative, I think, from the EU is quite welcome, that you cannot ask about previous salary so that you don't maintain those lags. And those are all the things actually we also discover with the companies, that they have those problems. But it's mostly also about equal chances in order to advance, about the promotion processes, which then cause the real pay gap.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think when I think about the universal fair pay check, the legislations, the things that you've just said, I often think, well, actually, when the people do a real good analysis, it doesn't really matter the laws that come next. All laws that come next are, you don't really mind. So it's sort of, instead of waiting for those laws getting stronger and stronger and then taking the steps, you might as well just start now, and then we're able to reach Planet Fair faster. And I would like to have like your last view, your last topic that you want to hand out from Florian, and from Margaret. I would also like to really see your vision. How fast do you think will this rocket fly? When will we reach Planet Fair worldwide? Not us only here in the group, but taking like the whole world with us. And what's the step we need for that? So please, if Florian wants to start, and Margaret, round up.
Well, I'm always quite optimistic, right? So I really hope. I always think in 2 steps, right? I think adjusted pay gap, that shouldn't be an issue. That should be something within which we can reach within years, right? I think looking at the unadjusted pay gap, that probably takes a little bit more time, because I mean that's really about having the same chances on all the levels, women entering the same functions, the same jobs, also being promoted. I think that probably takes some more time, but why shouldn't it go quite fast on the equal pay for the equal work?
Thank you. Margaret.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo everything Florian just said. I think we are at a point in time where it's simply no longer culturally acceptable to pay someone less than another for equal work based on gender or the color of our skin or religious beliefs, etc. So hopefully we can just fix it, soon, in a couple of years by, providing the right support and the right advice and the right tools. And then just to echo, then starting to, address the broader social gap in difference in pay, in the unadjusted pay gap, which is, for those who are not used to the lingo, that's just the difference in the average pay between men and women. I mean, interestingly, so if I speak from kind of, my small island in the mouth of the Atlantic right now, I mean, I think that's where the conversation is heading. So it's really how do we start to address the fact that female-dominated job roles have historically been underpaid. Think about our teachers and nurses, etc., the typical examples. So that's where the kind of the discussion and the push is going. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but I'm a part of a group in Iceland that is starting to push in that direction. So, yeah, equal pay gaps should no longer be acceptable, and they should be eradicated. Hopefully, pretty soon, if not yesterday. And then, we should start working towards closing and reducing the unadjusted pay gap.
Thank you so much, both of you. It was a real pleasure to have you here, and it's such a real pleasure to have you both also with us on the journey and on everything that we do to get people and companies and organizations and everybody out there to pay fairly. I can see you have moved into the other room on the other side. I can wave you once more goodbye here. So off you go. I look forward to seeing you soon, and I will move a step further. Thanks for being here, to Florian and Margaret. Yeah, now it's time to move back to Berlin, to Germany. So we take again from here 3,620 kilometers with our little rocket, very fast little rocket, and we land in the Ministry for Labor and Social Affairs. Now, as things often change, and we don't mind because we are very spontaneous, I had the pleasure to talk with the minister, but he is not going to be here live because of so many other ministers around there who want to talk to him as well. But still, when we talk, we just made a video. So that's something we're going to do. But I want to also tell you that how did all this happen? Hubertus Heil is the Federal Minister of Labor and Social Affairs since 2018. And last November 2020, I spoke at a digital event in the ministry, and it was about the challenges in the world of work. So lots of topics around this came up, but at the end of the event, the voting showed that the fair pay topic had the majority. That was the moment I took my electronic pencil and wrote that email asking him, hey, come on. I asked the question, he said yes, and that's the moment where it happened, where we are very honored at FPI to have the German Minister of Labor and Social Affairs as the patron for the Universal Fair Pay Check in Germany. This is a great pleasure, and we have the video now coming up in German with him. It's the only moment that the English speakers have now to get the last little glass of water or whatever you want before we go into the second round of awards with Allianz and Landspítali. So Tony, please beam the minister onto the screen. Tony, por favor, el ministro.
All around the world, some people still earn less than others, and for the same or equivalent work, even in the same company. Their gender, whether they have children, where they're from, what they believe in, or who they love, all these factors can affect salary. To support companies in implementing fair pay, in 2017, Henrike von Platen founded the Fair Pay Innovation Lab. Because most companies would like to pay employees fairly, the Fair Pay expert, with the help of her team and specialists from all over the world, developed the Universal Fair Pay Check. This unique three-stage certification process can be performed in any company worldwide, irrespective of size, location, or local legislation. The process always starts by analyzing pay structures. In the first step, previously unnoticed pay gaps and measures to close them are identified. In the second stage, the initial measures are implemented in order to close the unaccountable remaining gender pay gap. In the third phase, the real gender pay gap and other pay gaps are further narrowed and the figures published. The result? Stereotype-free, neutral and objective pay structures that leave no room for discrimination. By ensuring that men and women are paid equally, all other pay gaps are closed at the same time. Money is key to equal opportunities for all employees, says Henrike von Platen. To do nothing is a lot more expensive for companies. That's because fair pay ensures more diversity and inclusion, more women in leadership, greater motivation and satisfaction, lower staff turnover, greater attractiveness for skilled and junior staff, better reputation and investor relations. The Universal Fair Pay Check is a compass and flagship for all companies that pay their employees fairly, irrespective of age or gender, whether they have children, where they come from, what they believe in, or who they love. Fair pay for everyone in the world.
Acordarme de nuestro propio video. Thank you so much. I wanted to show this one for you, and I myself forgot about it, thinking of our patron. So I will make it very short here now. Tony, deja que entre el ministro y luego vuelvo yo. Muchas gracias.
Sehr geehrte Frau von Platen, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, ich muss zu Beginn etwas Persönliches loswerden. Ich freue mich, heute engagierte Unternehmerinnen und Unternehmer zu treffen. Ich freue mich auch, dass es Menschen gibt wie Henrike von Platen und ihr Team, die sich nicht mit Missständen abfinden, sondern konkret etwas ändern wollen. Doch noch mehr würde ich mich freuen, wenn wir diese Veranstaltung, so schön sie ist, eigentlich gar nicht bräuchten. Wenn wir gar nicht mehr darüber sprechen müssten, dass es gleiche Arbeit gibt und gleicher Lohn bezahlt werden muss. Das ist eigentlich eine Selbstverständlichkeit und es ist schlimm, dass das noch nicht überall angekommen ist. Ich sage das mit einem sehr großen Ausrufezeichen. Es gibt immer noch Unternehmen in Deutschland, die Frauen schlechter bezahlen als Männer, auch bei gleicher Erfahrung, bei gleicher Qualifikation und gleicher Tätigkeit. Man spricht hier vom bereinigten Gender Pay Gap, ein etwas sperriger Begriff. Er liegt in Deutschland bei durchschnittlich 6%. Das heißt, bei einem Stundenlohn von 21 € brutto macht das monatlich 200 € brutto Unterschied aus. Diese Lohnlücke ist eine Schande für unsere moderne soziale Marktwirtschaft und damit muss endlich Schluss sein. Ich bin nicht nur Bundesminister, ich bin auch Vater zweier Kinder. Meine Tochter geht in die 1., mein Sohn in die 3. Klasse. Ich wünsche mir, dass beide in einer fairen und offenen Arbeitswelt aufwachsen. Eine Arbeitswelt, in der das Geschlecht keine Rolle spielt, weder bei der Berufswahl noch bei der Bezahlung oder der Beförderung. Zur Berufsorientierung haben wir als Bundesregierung übrigens eine tolle Initiative gestartet. Sie heißt klischeefrei. Wir machen uns damit stark für eine Berufs- und Studienwahl ohne Geschlechterklischees. Und wir haben inzwischen über 300 Partnerinnen und Partner gewonnen. Frau von Platen und ihr Team sind auch dabei. Aber es dürften durchaus noch ein paar mehr werden. Vielleicht gibt es ja die eine oder den anderen von Ihnen, die sich heute anschließen wollen. Bei Ihnen renne ich bei diesem Thema offene Türen ein, wenn ich über die Gleichbehandlung und faire Bezahlung spreche. Das ist ein bisschen so, wie wenn man nicht Wasser in einen Fluss tragen würde. Der Fluss hat das nicht wirklich nötig. In Island, ein Land mit bekanntlich viel Wasser, klappt das mit der Gleichstellung ziemlich gut, wie wir eben gehört haben. In Deutschland dagegen sitzt die Gleichstellung leider noch oft auf dem Trockenen, vor allem auch in der privaten Wirtschaft. Ich will nicht allein das Ganze auf das Pay Gap reduzieren, aber die Lohnlücke springt einem schon sehr ins Gesicht. Insgesamt auf alle erwerbstätigen Frauen und Männer bezogen liegt der Abstand sogar bei ganzen 18%. Das ist nicht nur in höchstem Maße unwürdig, sondern auch ökonomisch unklug. Denn unser Land braucht dringend Fachkräfte, gut qualifizierte Frauen genauso wie gut ausgebildete Männer. Wir müssen erstens mehr Frauen für den Arbeitsmarkt gewinnen, und zwar für alle Berufe. Zweitens, das, was Frauen leisten, muss anerkannt werden, nicht nur mit Lobliedern, sondern auch auf dem Lohnzettel. An dieser Stelle geht es auch um mehr Tarifbindung. Denn dort, wo Tarifverträge gelten, ist das Gender Pay Gap geringer. Und drittens, Frauen dürfen in der Arbeitswelt nicht benachteiligt werden, weder auf dem Papier noch in der Praxis. Kurzum, wir müssen noch besser werden, auch wenn schon einiges erreicht wurde. Mit dem guten Kita-Gesetz, damit die Kinderbetreuung besser funktioniert. Mit der Brückenteilzeit, damit vor allem Frauen nicht in der Teilzeitfalle landen. Mit dem Entgelttransparenzgesetz, damit Beschäftigte einen verbindlichen Anspruch auf Lohnvergleich haben. Übrigens, ich finde es gut, dass wir jetzt auch auf europäischer Ebene dieses Thema auf der Tagesordnung haben. Und ich will an dieser Stelle ausdrücklich auch ein Gesetz nennen, das in diesen Wochen im Deutschen Bundestag beraten wird, das zweite Führungskräftepositionengesetz. Wir wollen damit erreichen, dass mehr Frauen in den Führungspositionen privater und öffentlicher Unternehmen und Institutionen vertreten sind. Im Vorfeld haben viele gesagt, das ist ja nett, dass ihr euch um die Chefinnen kümmert, aber kümmert euch lieber mal um die normalen Angestellten und Arbeiterinnen. Aber genau darum geht es ja. Wenn sich an der Spitze etwas ändert, wenn dort Bewegung reinkommt, verkrustete Strukturen aufgebrochen werden, dann geht ein Ruck durch das gesamte Unternehmen, durch die gesamte Verwaltung. Dann gibt es oft einen Wandel in der Arbeitskultur und Schritte hin zu gerechter Bezahlung und Behandlung. Die Gleichstellung lebt von guten Beispielen und von Vorbildern. Das galt schon früher und das ist heute noch so. Sagt Ihnen der Name Wilhelmine Reichert etwas? Das war die erste deutsche Ballonfahrerin vor ziemlich genau 210 Jahren. Ich habe vor einigen Jahren die Ehre gehabt, eine ihrer Nachfolgerinnen kennenzulernen, nämlich die erste deutsche Astronautin Insa Thiele-Eich. Solche Vorbilder brauchen wir in allen Lebensbereichen, auch in der Wirtschaft. Und damit meine ich nicht nur Einzelpersonen, sondern ganze Unternehmen, wie die Unternehmen, die heute mit dabei sind. Sie, liebe Unternehmen, machen deutlich, Gleichstellung ist keine wirtschaftliche Zumutung, sondern ein echter Wettbewerbsvorteil. Sie, die heute ausgezeichnet werden, haben freiwillig ihre Verdienststrukturen durchleuchtet und in ihren Betriebsalltag durchforstet und sie haben Regelungen beseitigt, die diskriminierend wirken. Dabei haben sie nicht nur Frauen im Blick, sondern auch Menschen mit Behinderung, Menschen mit unterschiedlicher Hautfarbe oder sexueller Identität. Klar ist nicht, hinter jeder Diskriminierung steckt eine perfide Absicht. Oft ist es schlichtweg Unwissenheit oder einfach der Unwille, sich mit dem Thema auseinanderzusetzen. Wir als Politik können und müssen geeignete Rahmenbedingungen für mehr Gleichstellung schaffen. Aber wir können das Bewusstsein dafür nicht von oben verordnen. Jedes Unternehmen, und sei es noch so klein, hat an dieser Stelle eine moralische Pflicht und eine soziale Verantwortung. Und ich habe eine ganz große Bitte an Sie. Liebe Unternehmen, sprechen Sie über das, was Sie tun und stiften Sie andere zum Nachahmen an. Sagen Sie ihnen das, was Regine Hildebrandt, eine große Sozialpolitikerin, immer gesagt hat, im besten Berlinerisch: Erzähl mir doch nicht, dass es nicht geht. Auf Deutsch: hört auf mit Ausreden. In diesem Sinne, danke für Ihren Einsatz.
Thank you, Hubertus Heil, for making it here to us. It was an easy flight for you in this case, and I look forward to a meeting on another stage at another time. Now we go to the awards second round, and without further ado, because this is I'm just hallucinating here, standing in this lava stream, which is not flowing, but sometimes it feels a bit like that. I'm not getting hot feet, but I can see the sun, and I hope you can catch the spirit of the location where we are in now. And yeah, let's just go to the second round, and I want you to start off. Tony, please kick off the Allianz video.
There are still more men named Thomas, Michael or Stefan on German boards than women in total. The so-called Thomas cycle. Allianz Germany wants to change this by making sure there is more female leadership with more women in better paid positions. The Munich-based insurance group employs around 25,000 people, half of whom are men and half women. A very good basis for equal representation in management positions. The goal is to significantly increase the proportion of women at management level, especially at first and second tiers below the executive board by the end of 2021. The way to break the Thomas cycle is fair pay. Allianz Germany is one of the first companies to be certified with the Universal Fair Pay Check. At Allianz, we take a strong stance for equality and fairness, and gender equality has been at the top of our agenda for a long time, says Allianz board member Renate Wagner. This includes colleagues doing the same jobs, deserving the same pay, irrespective of gender. Therefore, our ambition is to remove any existing pay gap. At Allianz Germany, we are well on track with a current equal pay gap close to 1%. In 2021, Allianz Germany will be recognized as a fair pay analyst.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch. I'm very proud and honored to be able to award the Allianz Germany also with the Fair Pay Analyst. Renate Wagner wanted to be with us, couldn't be with us now because she's stuck in some kind of workers' council meeting. I think that's also about money, so it's important. So I'm very honored and proud that here we made a super cool switch, and Kathrin Janicke is with us and jumped in very spontaneously, and it's great to see you here, Kathrin. You are managing the rewards and performance at Allianz Deutschland AG, which is what it's all about when we talk about fair pay. How do you feel, and I know we talked a bit German, English, choose your language which you prefer. How do you feel now having seen your little movie, having your award now in front of you? The floor is yours.
Henrike, so I'm happy you should be say. We are very happy to be one of the first companies getting this award. And for us, I would say we talked a lot about these issues, Henrike, not today, the first time. And I think for us, it's really important to have quite a good look to our equal pay situation. And we started already for a while to do this. And I want to tell you why it's so important for Allianz. Within Allianz, we are more diverse than you may think. We want all employees, regardless of their origin, gender, religion, or other personal characteristics, to feel comfortable with us. We as Allianz believe that diversity is central for our success in the market. It's a key element for reflecting the diversity of our customers in our company. Equality is essential for a modern and inclusive corporate culture. This includes offering our employees equal opportunities and paying them fairly for their work, regardless of gender. At Allianz Germany, we participated in the certification process because we believe that colleagues in the same or similar function should be paid equally. With an equal pay gap close to 1%, we are very well on track. But we would like to reduce the gap even further. Not only the adjusted pay gap is on our agenda, for several years we take actions to reduce the unadjusted pay gap as well. For example, we have diverse talent pools, clear targets for women in leadership, and promote flexible working to make the life with family and career easier. Nevertheless, there's always room for improvement. I think interaction and learning from the best examples of other companies is a great opportunity. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you very much, Kathrin. It's great to have you here. And well, I know it's a long journey, and I know that you talked also about the adjusted and the unadjusted at the moment, but I wanted to see what was it like, what did it make to you to sort of get to this in 1%? So you are actually an analyst sort of at the start, but you are nearly a developer already. You're really far if you look at where the numbers are German-wide in general. Can you give us like a little insight on what have you done? Did you already take steps after the analysis? And if you want to share them, which ones were the steps that you took?
Yes, for sure. So I would say there are three important points. The first thing is compensation structure and processes. For the adjusted pay gap, I think you need to grade the function. So you have to know what impact is with which function. So at least it's important the compensation is based on the function and not on the function holder. This is the first step, I think. The second one is to analyze. So it's very, very important to analyze where you stand. So you find your strengths, but also the potential to improve. And at least, I really think the most important point is to talk about compensation. And you should dare to be more transparent. And then you make these goals, your own goals, to the goals for all leadership functions in your whole house. I think this is the key to have really fair pay, at least.
Thank you very much. One of my favorite words, the transparency. And I'm really proud that you're actually coming out with figures now and not just taking the analyst, but in this case, you're actually talking about real numbers, which is super cool. I would like you to just wait for a little moment while we move to Reykjavík again and go to the Landspítali as the next round. And after that, you will come back into the discussion so we can discuss a bit together with Páll. So maybe you might already think about what kind of questions you would like to ask a company that, that will join us in the discussion now. So the upcoming discussion is the Landspítali. And Tony, por favor, el último video de los certificados, el hospital.
With almost 700 beds, Landspítali, the National University Hospital of Iceland, founded in 1930, is the country's leading hospital and the largest healthcare employer. Since the Icelandic pay certification system came into force in 2018, equal pay has been an integral part of the hospital management system. No other country in the world sets such high legal obligations as Iceland. But Landspítali wants more. Not only should men and women be paid equally, all employees should be paid fairly, with no discrimination at all. To achieve this goal, the hospital additionally undergoes the Universal Fair Pay Check. To do this, the hospital has established a pay committee. This ensures that analyses are regularly performed and appropriate targets set and followed up with actions. Measures are taken, comments and discrepancies are addressed, and progress is presented annually to employees. Being part of the Universal Fair Pay Check is a commitment to steadily improve in the field of equal rights, explains Páll Matthíasson, CEO of Landspítali. I want equal pay to be understood as an ongoing journey to fulfill the fundamental human right to be valued for one's skills and abilities without gender-based discrimination. In 2021, the Landspítali will be recognized as a fair pay leader.
Again, now in Reykjavík, on the other volcanic island, looking at you, seeing you that you have achieved the certification after I've met colleagues of yours, seen so many things that you've done. I'm very proud to see you here. What does it feel like to you? What do you want to send us from one island to the other island and to the world? The floor is yours, Páll.
Well, thank you, and thank you very much for this acknowledgement and honor. Well, I would say in January 2020, Landspítali, the National University Hospital of Iceland, received the equal pay certification from the Ministry of Welfare in Iceland. The certification was not straightforward, and just like any other road trip, it had its ups and downs. So our decision to involve employees from all organizational levels, as well as inviting trade unions representatives, was key, I think, in making our journey successful. We did this to ensure that everyone understood the process and to make sure that every voice was heard. We wanted all relevant parties to have an equal opportunity to be a part of our journey. So in 2018, we did an in-depth evaluation of both pay gaps and the hospital's organizational structure. Consequently, we set minor goals throughout 2019 to reach the destination of equal pay to all. We had several minor goals to track, and one of our major goals was to reach out to all employees and provide everyone with an equal opportunity to have both a direct say and involvement in finalizing our job evaluation system. Out of approximately 6,000 employees, around 500 participated in our workshops, including approximately 200 managers. We had representatives with over 250 different job titles from almost 200 different departments, and I'm confident that our evaluation process covered the views and input of our diverse workforce. The result is that we have an accurate measuring stick which makes our pay gap analysis, a regression model, truthful and reflecting the compensation system our hospital uses. In 2019, we then performed our first pay gap analysis using the job evaluation system, along with both individual and group variables that our employees have submitted through the workshops. So then we found out the adjusted gender pay gap was insignificant, 0.02% in table 9, and our unadjusted gender pay gap was 7.3%. We were not too happy with the initial estimation value of RT that was 83%. So for 2020, we set the goal for a higher estimation value, and we also hope to lower the unadjusted pay gap. So the result of our 2020 gap analysis is an even more accurate model with an estimation value of 1%, adjusted pay gap of under 1%, and the unadjusted pay gap around 5% in table 9. To sum it up, for those who are about to start this journey, we have a saying in Iceland, the upphafi skyldi ending skoða, which loosely translated would mean, at the start, keep an eye on the end result. It is important to make plans in accordance to where you are now and where you want to go. And I will urge you all to focus on realistic goals that fit the needs of your organization to get you to the finish line. Looking towards the future, I'm very proud that Landspítali is part of the universal fair pay check. For me, it's important that people view equal pay as an ongoing journey to fulfill the fundamental human right to be valued for one's skills and abilities without gender-based discrimination. This is not a one-off checklist, but it is certainly not a one-man job. I would like to thank all our hospital's employees, especially those who participated in the workshops, for we would surely not be here if not for their input and hard work. We are not there yet, but we are all working hard to remove the gap. We should all strive for an inclusive workplace that values human rights, and that is what I believe all of us do at Landspítali. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Páll. You are the director of the hospital since 2013. I think you've seen a lot in that time. And I know you have this beautiful shovel behind you, and I can just imagine you caving your way to Planet Fair using this shovel. So what was sort of when I listened to your to the figures, I would like you to tell us, how do you really value the transparency on the figures when you really talk numbers? You say with a very accurate model, you value over 91% adjusted pay gaps under 1%, the unadjusted around 5%. So you are very concrete. How do you value this transparency?
I think the transparency is hugely important, and I value it. I mean, I have noticed what Allianz was talking about, which is to say, transparency, a clear compensation structure, and of course what we benefit from in Iceland is the law behind it. But I think, as well as that, I think you also have to be brave. In a way, when you come to a wall which you want to get over, sometimes the best thing is to throw your hat over the wall and then go get it.
Thank you very much. I would like to get Renate back in. Tony, por favor, me pones los dos, Renate y a Páll juntos para la discusión, por favor. I would like Kathrin to ask the question that is sort of burning. When you now see that you've been awarded now to be the analyst, you are on your way to become a leader, and I'm quite sure you will get there, and you have a leader in front of you or above or below or wherever you see him on the screen now. What would be the burning question for you, from you, Kathrin, to Páll?
Yes, I have really a burning question, to be honest, because, you know, we are in the German market and maybe we have a little bit a different culture, I'm not sure. I would really like to know, how can we get to the unadjusted pay gap of when I could understand your words, like 5 or 6%. We have in Germany, still the situation that a lot of families are organized like the mom is with the kids and the dad is with the company. And I would like to understand how we can change this.
Thank you, Kathrin. Páll, that's your question.
Okay. Well, I think in a way it goes back to 1975 when my mother and other women in society took a day off and strike to fight for equality for women. I think we've been working hard ever since, and I think the key is, of course, to create equality when it comes to childcare and actually to allow men to participate in raising a family as much as women. I think we still have some way to go in Iceland towards that compared to some of the other Nordic countries, but I think that's a relevant and important issue. I think also the energetic take-up, I mean, it's complicated. I mean, I look within our world, if you like, our company of 6,000 people or organization, and there we see that there is, when you compare the value of jobs, there is little, or there's still some difference, but it's getting smaller. But then if we would compare a hospital where there's a predominance of women working within healthcare, and we compare the equal jobs within, say, the construction industry, then I'm afraid we would see a bigger gap still between traditional female and male jobs. And I think that's also a challenge that we're facing in society.
Yeah, definitely. It's a societal question as well, but I think it's also fascinating to see that if you look at it only inside a company, you can get very far already, because as we had Víðir, and we will make sure that, Kathrin, you can get a chat with Víðir as well. So you have Páll with the caring sector and the hospital, but you will get the chat directly with Víðir from the energy area, so it's more male dominated, and he might have some ideas as well. And on the other side, I think in Allianz you have already a good you have 50%, I think, around 50% of men and women in the company, but it's spread unevenly maybe around. So I hope this answer helped you a bit, but we will find some more. What I would like to know is how fast do you think you will be in doing the next steps, or can you give us a glimpse what you are planning as next steps, having done the analysis? A glimpse to Allianz, what's coming up next, and if you like, also a glimpse to the whole Allianz universe, because we are specifically talking about Allianz Germany, but you are everywhere, and I think that the topic of fair pay is the same no matter in what organization you are moving around. So maybe you can give us a little glimpse on that one, Kathrin.
Yes, Henrike, I can do this. So at least it's not only a topic in Germany, for sure. So at Allianz, we decided to bundle our activities and tackle the issue globally. Our colleagues from the global project team did really a great job, I have to say. They developed a global understanding, a data consistency, and also a uniform method for calculating. At least, I think the most of the companies worldwide have already pay analytics, and they work with pay analytics, and they start to eliminate any unequal treatments. So the situation is very different, I have to say. I know we have also a country where the women are a little bit better paid. So it's different, but we all use the same, and we are very happy to have pay analytics, and so we can start all over the world to came to a zero.
Yeah, let's get that zero. Páll, you are already nearly there. Like you say, it's an ongoing journey. It never stops, but you are nearly there. And how do you keep it going? Can you give us like a last insight for the people out there watching and listening? What do you do to stay good?
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's an ongoing journey. I mean, now when we're looking at the pay gap, we are looking at pockets. What is it behind it? And what can we do about it? I can give you an example. We are looking at, for example, the job of a surgeon, where there is a lot of on-calls and studious work hours, etc. And you can see that you might have more men there, and the way we organize the work is maybe not very family friendly. And that might mean that it's skewed towards men going there, and then they get a higher pay because they're working. But there we have to think as well, and that is where I think the equal share, paycheck and all of that comes into actually creating a better environment for everyone. Because we should not organize our jobs in such a way that it's not family friendly. And we should actually look into things like this and think, how can we actually organize the work environment in such a way that it's appealing to both men and women, to both people who want to, whether they want to have a family or spend the time on something other than their job, and without risking their mental and physical health. How can we create such an environment? And I think actually, apart from just helping us in equal pay between the genders, I think this whole process will help us create a better work. So that's where we are looking now.
Thank you, Páll. Thank you very much. Kathrin, your floor for maybe the last word, the last round of what do you want to give out to the others, how to start, because I mean you did that first step. That might be a nice finish for the discussion. How did you actually start?
Yeah, I think to start, the most important thing is to talk about it. So let's just talk about and start to be transparent. It's, as I think a few people said already today, nobody really wants to pay different. It's my feeling. So if you are really not sure if how the situation is, start to analyze, and then you know your situation, and this is the first step to close all the gaps. And the second step is to communicate very open, and I think if you start to communicate, then other ones have to follow.
Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you. It was a real pleasure to have you here, and I'm sure we will meet again, see each other again and talk. I will make sure we all get together, and also to the people out there, to everybody. This is about best practice exchange. This is about those who are moving forward in the rocket, taking all others with us and sharing the advice. It's not only the transparency on numbers, it's the transparency on the whole marathon that we are sort of in a way running together on a very fast track. So thank you very much for this. We are coming to the end, to the final minutes of this day. I'm seeing the sun coming around. You might see it here as well. So we are standing here. It's getting warmer. It's feeling good. It's been wonderful 2 hours. And at the end, I want to give you a very small view to the future. I don't want to take away surprises from the next weeks and months, because there will be lots of surprising companies joining us, and we will make sure that most of them go transparent, but some just don't. So there are some behind the scenes watching, and they've seen you all now, and they probably want to jump out soon. 2 very brave ones I just want to mention very shortly at this stage that are starting in the process. They are very special in a way as well, because we will have the first a municipal company to do so, which is the Sozialholding Mönchengladbach of the city of Mönchengladbach. And here we are in a very, how to say, exciting discussion coming up, all about upgrading and revaluing work. And that's something that has been in the discussion earlier a lot of times. So thanks to COVID, thanks to Corona in a certain way, we know that clapping doesn't replace salary. So we need to talk more about money, and especially with the company in the municipal care sector, we can cover this debate very well. So we look forward to having them. And another one that we can share with you is an IT company, Pinetco, which we are also really looking forward to get more exchange of the IT companies exchanging best practice of what's coming up next. And you will see more coming And the crew is growing already, and it will grow even faster. And we truly welcome everybody on board. We want you to be part of it. We want you to get certified, but we want you to pay fairly. That's the most important thing. And remember, you can pay fairly daily. Anybody out there. It's the companies, but it's the person. If I want to get paid fairly tomorrow, I have to pay fairly today myself. And that's the sentence anybody can use. Being a person, being a company, an entrepreneur, an employee, an employer. If you want to get paid fairly yourself, make sure that you pay fairly too. And to start the process, analyze where you stand, see the position. It can be inside a volcano, it can be somewhere else. Develop the measures you need to get with the rocket out of here, and then just take the lead and share the best practice. That's the move we want to take. And together we will get to the road very fast, I'm quite sure. Last words to my team. Behind the scenes, there is the FPI lab. There's a team of the best agents I could imagine, because we call ourselves the FPI agents. So it's Christine, Peter, and Katinka behind the scenes. And it's so many others that have just made this day possible. Thank you a lot. Thank you all. And muchas gracias a todo el equipo que está aquí a mis alrededores. Tony, dale al último video. Thank you all. Goodbye and have a wonderful time. Analysts, leaders, they're all there. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and I will make my move soon. Christine, Peter, Katinka, and the Berlin team, and the Hamburg team, the voices that you've been listening to, all the people here on Lanzarote stopping their job today for this. And Preston, thank you all. Goodbye. Hasta luego.